soaring eagles, developing breeds of excellence.
So, hi guys. Welcome to another episode on the Soaring Eagle Talk Show. Today, we'll be talking about a very interesting topic. And before we go into that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Joyce Francis, and with me is.
My name is Jason Prince.
All right. So, today we have an important guest in our midst. I call him important because from his CV, you will know. But let's hear from the horse's mouth himself. So join me as we welcome Sir.
Pastor Michael Obu.
All right. You know, this man is so very simple. Due to his simplicity, he just don't want to go into details about who he is. But, sir, you have the floor for now, just to tell us a little bit about who you are, and so that our audience will have a better view of who is in our midst today.
Okay, like you heard from the beginning, my name is Pastor Michael Obu. I'm a husband of one wife, and I have lovely children. I'm the school chaplain. I'm the chaplain of Omega High School, the best school in the world.
Yeah.
And, I'm also an educational consultant, a certified counselor, and a trainer with Association of Christian Schools International, with headquarters in Colorado Springs in the United States of America. And so I think for the purpose of this discourse, I would like to leave it at that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And the topic before us here is a very interesting topic, and it's one that globally has given us cause to worry. As I told you earlier, we'll be talking about the rise and danger of sexual perversions in our developing world. But before we dive into this topic, I want you, sir, to tell us, what do you understand by this term, sexual perversion? We've been hearing sexual perversion, sexual perversion. I might have a definition, but I want to know more. What is sexual perversion, sir?
Well, I would not want to talk about sexual perversion superficially because of the effect. I would like to be very deep when it comes to the explanation. I would like to first of all talk about what perversion is. Perversion is simply turning away from truth or turning away from what is right. So when we talk about sexual perversion, we are talking about the engagement in sexual activities or relationships that is completely outside the truth. And when I talk about truth, I'm talking about God's truth and what is right. So that is what sexual perversion is all about.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. From what you said, I can pick two things, and that is the truth. And I remember in school, they taught us that the truth will set you free. So why is this subject matter deemed dangerous in our time?
You see, when you begin to do things that is outside nature, they have consequences. When God created the world, He put things in order. And so when we do things out of order, there are consequences that will come alongside with them. And so that's why that word danger should be associated with that word perversion.
That's very interesting. When we see danger sign, they write red on it, right?
Yes.
You will see red on it. So, but this term is not, there's not anything to like say, this word is, there's not anything to really say this is bad. So as you said, is the truth, and we hope that as everyone is here listening, you give ear and will follow through, and to save ourselves from all the dangers of this perversion. So right now, I want to know, what are some of the examples of this perversion? We've heard of, they say rape, we've heard of all these common ones, but I think there are trending ones that are coming up in our world now, because our world is not the same thing as what it used to be in the 16th century, dating back, So what are the examples of some of these perversions that we have today?
Well, before I give you the examples, I would like to correct what you just said. It's not that they are not there, but they were not trending. Okay? They've been existing. They've been there for long. Okay, like you talked about examples. We have, you see, when we talk about sex outside marriage makes it wrong. So every sexual activity outside marriage is a perversion. And so permit me to give you their names. We have fornication, it's a perversion. We have adultery, it is perversion. Pedophilia, when a man is having sexual attraction for a child, that is sexual perversion. Bestialia, when people begin to sleep with animals. We have gerontophilia. Gerontophilia is when people begin to have affection for old people. You see young people having affection for old people. That is, it's trending. In fact, people do that to even get attention, maybe travel out and all of that. It's also trending. All of that is part of it. We have masturbation, which is in fact very, very common now. We have homosexuality, which is part of it. We have lesbianism, which is also part of it. In fact, there are a lot of them, masturbation and all of that. All of these are things that are contrary to God's plan for what sex should be all about. And like I said, anything done outside the truth, I don't want to define it the way the dictionary defines it. I define it the way God will define it. And so anything done outside the truth is perversion. In fact, you even have a situation where you have sexual relationship between relatives, direct relatives. A father sleeping with his daughter, or with his son, mother sleeping with his son sleeping with cousins and all of that. All these things are perversions. And those are the things that are trending now.
Anything outside the right way is a perversion.
It's a perversion, yeah.
Because with the definition of sexual perversion now, many people tend to exclude incest, fornication, and adultery. But you have defined it well, that anything outside the will of God, anything outside the way it was supposed to be,
It's perversion.
it's perversion. All right, sir. The next question is that although you have done a little bit about it, I need you to go further. Do you think sexual perversion is a product of the 21st century, or has it existed since the beginning?
It has always been there. You see, for the fact that it's making waves now is because of our ability to get quick news. And that's what the social media is doing. But they've been existing. They've been there. Right from before I was born and before our parents were born, all these things have been there. It's just that the awareness, because of the influence of social media, is making it common. And it's like everybody's getting to know this now. And again, looking at the way the devil is trying to infuse or to destroy this generation, is becoming legal in some countries. And that is why it's gaining more grounds. And that is why the voice is becoming louder and louder. There are things that you will hear before, it will be hidden. It will look like shame. But now, shame is not even attached to them again. And people come out boldly to do that. You can see people getting wedded as homosexuals boldly. These are things that was happening before, but it will be done in secret. So like I said, because they are getting legislative powers right now, it's becoming more stronger and stronger.
Can you give us some examples of places and time where those...
For example, in the US, I think there are 3 states in the US that is now legal.
I'm talking about in history where such things occurred.
In history, maybe I will go to Bible age. We saw where Noah slept with his children. His children slept with their father. In fact, they said to themselves, let's sleep with our father. Lot. They said, let's sleep with our father so that we can have children. Okay? So they decided. So the first one had a turn with the father. The second one had a turn with the father. So you see, and they did it and it felt like nothing to them. Okay, we also saw, despite the fact that it was not his mind doing that, but it was something that the father wanted to do. He gave his son to get married to someone, and after that, you say, okay, this one is dead, take this one, take this one. You see, they just keep happening like that. And we saw a situation where Absalom slept with his father's concubines, okay? And he did that in the face of Israel. So it's like, it's been happening, like I said. And why I might not be able to give you in our own modern times as per old age is because it has been done hidden. But right now it's becoming like pronounced. We have world leaders that are practicing that. We have people in power, people in different fields that feel free. In fact, I heard about recently a professor in the US that got married to another professor in the US, lesbians. And the wedding shook the United States of America. And surprisingly, they are Nigerians.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I was not expecting
I wasn't
that.
expecting that.
Because we normally hear of this thing in the foreign countries, you know, they are more predominant in that country. So seeing the fact that this thing has been happening even right from the days that we were not born. So sir, can you tell us what is the root cause of this in this our world today? Like, what do you think as the cause of these things? Because as you said, it was not known in the olden days. They were doing it so silently, but now it's everywhere on the internet. It's trending. So what is the root cause of this?
Okay, there are a lot of causes. Well, I would like to talk about the root, then I'll talk about other causes. Because the root cause of anything called sin or perversion is our fallen nature. So, for the fact that you are not a child of God, you are prone to anything. You are prone to anything, and I would like to say that. And that is the root cause, our fallen nature. But we have other secondary causes. Part of it is our homes, the kind of homes we come out from. You see, we have families now that parents no longer look at what their children are doing. The father is working, the mother is working, it's not bad. But you see, there's no balance. And so there's no time for the children. And so that parental care is not there. And so these children tend to want to experiment in a lot of things. And so they find themselves doing a lot of things. Again, we have peer pressure. People tend to join friends and discover that this is happening, this is happening. Come on. For me to become part of you, I have to do what you are doing. So peer pressure also is one of them. Also, the environment where you stay, where you reside, is also important. Something happened, and I think I just have to say that very quickly. A young boy that grew up from my hands, I think my students also know this story, grew up from my hands, very wonderful child, did very well, had wonderful results, and went to the United Kingdom to further his studies. And when he was through, he stayed back and did his master's. So he came out with distinction from the university, came out with distinction for his master's. But when he returned a different person. In fact, when we engaged, I discovered that most of our engagements were completely anti-God. He was completely anti-God. And so you see, he just changed environment. And so his worldview changed completely. So that is another factor, that people are easily influenced by their environment. You see a child that is very good here and goes abroad and becomes something else. And he looks at it that this is what it means to be modern. And I'm surprised that when someone is sleeping with an animal, he calls that a modern life.
Well, that's for that section. It's quite sad. I was listening to someone. He said, "What a sad generation we have, with smiling face going all over." I pray God help us. Yes, God help us. So, the next question is you've talked on it. It's concerning the social media. Now we all know that the social media is there for us to help us learn more. The social media helps us to do things that we never thought possible that we could do. So now, what is the role of this social media in what is the role that they play in sexual perversion? Like, how do the social media, how have they helped to advance these sexual perversions that we're hearing in the world today?
One of the effects that social media have really caused on sexual perversion is re-emphasizing sexual perversion and also giving it a full mark, a pass mark. That is what social media have done. For someone who is in Africa, and because of our culture, to an extent, might not be exposed to some things, social media has given him that opportunity to see some things. And because in those countries, these things go without, they have a pass mark, he begins to practice it. And so social media has helped a lot of people to know what ordinarily they are not supposed to have known. That's one. Number two, social media has also given a lot of people friends of like mind. For example, you are maybe homosexual driven, but in your environment here, you might not have someone that wants to do that with you. But social media can easily give you that. In fact, they have groups where they can meet. And so it is easier for you to meet someone with like mind, even outside this country, or far, even in this country and far away. And so it's easier for you to meet. So social media also grants them the opportunity to meet people of like mind. And that is also very, very dangerous. So social media has played this kind of role that ordinarily would not have been there, but is now made available to them. And so they take advantage of that. And this is what is causing the spread of sexual perversion. In fact, you are hearing it in places where, even in homes where you are not supposed to hear them. In the homes of pastors, in the homes of, in fact, it's in church now. It's happening in places where it will amaze you. And God just needs to help us. In fact, thirdly, social media also grants them opportunity of how to do it without being caught. And so social media grants them that opportunity. And so they now say, okay, I can do this in this kind of place and I will not be caught. Or I can do this in this kind of place and it's legal. And so you see some people trying to go to South Africa. Why? Because I can practice this there. I think that brings my attention to this. A boy that was in the country he was in Nigeria with his friend who is from another country. But when the parents had that pressure on him, they relocated to South Africa. The reason why they went to South Africa is because we can practice it there. How did they get to know that? Social media.
Wow.
So social media has exposed places of escape for people, and it has also united people with like passion.
Yes.
And it has given those that practice such thing the confidence and the acception.
Yeah. That this what I'm doing is not strange. Somebody in US is doing it. Somebody in this country is doing it. So what I'm feeling is not strange. This feeling I'm having for another man is not strange. Because I discovered that a white boy somewhere is also having that. So you see, there's a pass mark. And so why not? I just do it.
And their special privilege is given to such groups.
In fact, it's happening in some countries that is amazing us. It's amazing us. That if you just do anything against them, you will go for it.
And if you take a good listen at foreign news, any law that you say, anything that is said against LGBTQ, I check different channels, different foreign channels, even some Arab news station is considered controversial. Anything you do against them, controversial. It seems like everyone has accepted it.
Yeah.
And even I was surprised that even the media, the news stations are promoting and pushing this thing forward.
You can see that, like you said, anything done against them is seen
Controversial.
So it's no longer seen as wrong. It's your fight against them that is seen as wrong.
God will help us.
That's our prayer.
I was hoping that this will not be a sad topic, but the way it's going, it's really making me sad and I'm almost emotional. But let's go on. So now, sir, with the happenings on the internet, I know that I think it's last 2 weeks, right? We heard about the controversy that happened online concerning one of the so-called transgender that was awarded a yes, the most dressed female woman. And so it stirred up so many issues online. So, sir, we want to ask, how can the legal systems in Nigeria help such kind of things? Because we see that this thing is coming from online. It's not something that we just go out there and see. Something that is accessible. Even as I'm sitting down here, I can Google it, and go through stuff. So how do the legal systems in Nigeria, how can they help us fight against such kind of?
Well, it's going to be a strong and a big fight. This is because of the way the system in the world runs. You see, sometimes we sit in our homes and we just think that, the way you are thinking is the way someone else is thinking. But it's not like that. So the legal system in your country is not in isolation. It works also with other legal institutions. And so you discover that we also have influences from Europe, from America, trying to affect or trying to stop some legal actions that we take on some issues. For example, you discover that some countries have been sanctioned that if you don't give attention to LGBT and all of that, you might not get some grants and all of that. And so some weak countries will be forced to say, okay, we can't make some laws, so we just allow some things to just pass so that we can get some grants from these countries. Nigeria is not left out because we still enjoy some things from these foreign nations. And so it will be difficult, but nevertheless not impossible. If God will raise men like your generation, what I'm seeing in your eyes and in the people that God is raising here, that is where we are having hope. I'm telling you the truth. From those people that we have in the legislative there and the kind of people that we have there now, I don't think that will happen anytime soon. But with the kind of people that God is raising from people like you, like I said, and I've said this everywhere I go to, I wish I had this kind of opportunities when I was much younger like you. We never had people that told us things like this. But if God is putting it in the hearts of people like you, then there is hope. But like I said, that hope will only come. We see that hope in you. We see that hope in your generation. And so, what is my advice? I will say, let your generation begin to put things in place. Don't run away from politics. Go into politics. Don't run away from finance. Go there. Don't run away from all these places because that is where you can make laws that will stop all of these things. And we need, for us to have these kind of things done, we need men that fear God to be able to be there. I hope you had, I don't want to mention him, but there is a former vice president that was into things like this. And you think that kind of man will sit down and allow a law to be passed against people like that? No. So if we have this kind of people sitting down in those kind of places, we'll have problems. So our hope is in your generation, those that are carrying the fire of God now. We believe that God is going to use your generation to bring hope and restoration to Nigeria and to the world at large.
Like what you just said last, I can remember the superpower of the world. We don't want to mention names. I remember someone that was there before. The moment he left and this other guy came in, that was when the rise, this thing rose within these 4 years, the thing has risen so much. Yeah. I can remember when the vice president came to Nigeria and came to Africa. There was the country she visited. The neighboring country had the problem of flood. But what she was after was fighting for the rights of LGBT. Yeah. Recently Uganda passed the death penalty. And you can see the way the West fighting them.
So that's the challenge. It will be difficult. It's going to be a big fight, but not impossible, like I said.
And they are fighting against the same person that prevented them from prospering before to come in again. They are trying to block him. If you are against it, if you are not with us, you are against us, and they are going to squash you. They are going to crush you. Yeah. So you say the solution is us going in there with that fire to burn that chaff away.
And that's the generation there. Clap for yourself. That's the generation. You are the generation.
I must say, I'm enjoying this section right now. I think I'm coming alive. Yeah, I'm coming alive. All right, sir. You said there's little or nothing we can do, but we've been encouraged to go out there, to join politics, and to be the change we want to see. All right, so, but there's a little we can do in the educational sector, which you are into now. How can you create awareness? What are the things that you're putting in place as you are now to create awareness, to make sure that this thing does not infiltrate into this school on its own?
Okay. I've been passionate about young people for years. In fact, if I don't have young people to talk to for a week, I think I'll be sick. So I've been passionate about them. I run an organization with my wife. It's called Leadership School of Great Minds. And one of the things that we do is to build young leaders. To build young leaders. We go to schools. We reach out to young people. We have programs with them. And this is to enlighten them on who they are in God. My God, if you know who you are in God, you won't settle for an alternative. You will not settle for an alternative. You will not settle for number two. You want to be your best. This is who God wants you to be. And so that is the major focus. And so what is our motto, which runs like a vision, is if the mind can be transformed, if the mind can be renewed, the man can be transformed. So we work on the mind, renewing the mind. Relearn, unlearn, always learning so that you can be transformed. Romans 12 and verse 2 is our anchor scripture. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so if we can remove what you are thinking of and put something new there, your behavior will change. That is it. Once we can take what you have there, because everyone is driven by what he believes. Everyone is driven by his worldview, his ideas. And these things come as a result of where we are born, what we have been, our surroundings. These things form our worldview. But if we can renew your mind, if we can put the right thoughts in your mind, it will be easy to change your character. And so I said, even when you are deformed, you can be transformed.
Wow. Oh, wow. I think you missed a clap there, my audience.
So you mean the deformed Western education system can be transformed?
Every system can be transformed. No matter how bad, by the grace of God, I've seen people that are wasted, in quotes. Parents giving up on them. But today, they are the chief cornerstone of their families. Chief cornerstone of their family. So there is no situation that is lost. The most important thing is if that mind can be renewed, that man can be transformed. It's a strong secret. That's our anchor. So everything we do, we work on the mind. I try to see how I can change the way you think. Because the Bible says a man is what he thinks. So if I can change the way you think, why would a man desire a small child? It's the way he thinks. Why will a man desire another man? It's because of the way he thinks. Why will a girl desire another girl? Why will somebody settle for masturbation? It's because of the way they think. But if I can change the way you think, I will change the way you behave. So it is renewing the mind, transforming the man. That is our anchor. And God has been helping us. God has used us to raise leaders that are all over the world. And the ones that are presently with me, I'm expecting to see them all over the world also.
So, sir, what methods do you think we can use to renew, transform, reform the mind? Could this be introduced into subjects? Could this be made a course? How do we renew the mind? Because the influence of social media is very strong. Some students don't even pay attention in class, but their phone, they can stay there for 4 hours. They can stay there for 4 hours and nothing will shake them. How do we introduce this into our schooling system? How do we introduce it into the education system? Knowing that some people up there might be opposed to this.
Yeah.
Because some places, if you go and speak on this, the trouble you receive. Because if you check out schools, if I make example, schools in Abuja, it's a different thing entirely than schools in Jos. Jos is still holy. Why that place is already deviating. And sometimes you say something and they deal with you there. How do we get this into those places?
Okay. I think basically, by privilege, the association that I belong to, Association of Christian Schools International, started a program called Path to School Improvement Program. And they've been running that in schools right now. Right now, I think I'm training 8 schools in Plateau State with about 30 school leaders, top schools in Plateau State. And by 15th and 16th of this month, we'll be rounding up their first session. I mean, their cohort session for this time. And that means that those schools will be certified as international Christian schools. And when I mean Christian schools, not name Christian school, but the things done in those schools are truly Christian. And that brings me back to the program like you rightly asked. You see, our FCS programs must be very deliberate. Not just like a church program. They should not be just natural or normal programs. They must be deliberate. Our topics must be centered on these issues. You see, sometimes there was a time I was looking for a place for my children to go and hear the word of God. And someone will say, but they do the word of God. I said, no, they are teaching them about Abraham and Isaac. That's not what I want them to hear. I want them to hear the things that are happening to them and how it can help them and what the word of God says about those things. And so I was forced to bring my children here to hear what I'm teaching also, because that's what I do. I talk about these issues to my students. I talk about sex. I talk about fornication. I talk about stealing. I talk about these life issues, things that I know that they do, and all of that. So these are the things. School FCS program must be very deliberate. That's number one. Number two, school should allow external influence, external people like you guys to also partner with them. It's important. You can't do it alone. The program is too much. I mean, it's a lot. And even right now, I'm still going to partner with you people for Omega High School, because this thing is not going to end here. I will get you guys to always come around to be here, to partner with us. We also have some guys. I don't know if you've heard about them. The Oxygen. I don't know if you've heard of them. They are here in Jos also. They do things like that. We partner with God Life Assembly. I'm talking about Omega High School. We partner with God Life Assembly. They send us their team here to also work with our students. And so these are some of the things that we do to help our students. And also, like, just to end, the social media. Churches also should include this as part of their running system. It is important. Gone are the days where the pastor, they just come, they pray, the choir sings, the pastor preaches, everybody goes home. Sometimes if you ask those people 5 minutes later what has just happened in church, they can only tell you the activities, they will never tell you the impact. So I think that since our young ones love the social media, churches should also reach out to young people using the social medias. So bring out programs that these are the things that these children do. If you go to my son now, he's there. So put content there. We should have people that want to do things, then encourage them, not kill them. Because churches will not invite young people again that have all of these things because they want to kill their ideas. I was just telling them today about a young boy that I saw on news now that just made a drone for the New York police. And he said that when you dial 911, before the police will respond to you, the drone is already in your house. A young boy of 23. These young people, allow them to use the social media to serve God. Just show them the way. When they come to church, let them use social media to serve God. Is important because that is where they see themselves. That is where they communicate. That is where you can't drive them out of their world. That is their world. Now reach out to them in their world. And that is very, very important. Very, very important.
Don't stay out of their world.
Yes.
Go into their world.
And I would like to add this. I would like to add this to this. These are things that churches should sponsor. And say, since you have done this, we are going to send it to all our students or all our children all over the world. And so the boost that you need should come from churches. So it's not supposed to be difficult for you to walk up to any pastor and say, this is what we have done. Can you help us publish it to your church members, to your youth and all of that? He should not think twice. He should be able to support it. But you see, they will kill it because it's not all about them. And that is where we have gotten ourselves into.
Like also the idea of the FCS. I can remember why when we were SS3, there was a pastor, I think is the current bishop of St. Michael's Anglican Church. When he came to our school, then he had traveled all over the world. You see the way he talks to youth. It was a different feeling of the FCS. The FCS was just usually you read the hymn, you sing, and someone ministers for 20 minutes and share the grace, and they were always shortening time. But when he came, he would stay hours and he would have it on his slideshow, and he will say many things, and he was transforming life. We felt impacted. It was a different feeling from the FCS. It was no longer the boring FCS.
Yes, yeah. Wow.
And many of these youth, some of them may not have the boldness to walk up to someone and ask the question, this and this, because maybe they'll feel ashamed, maybe they'll feel that you will condemn them, maybe they'll feel that you can't pull them out. But these things will help them, and secretly they'll be enjoying. They may not be there looking at as if it interests them, but you don't know their eyes is there.
Sure.
So the FCS, as you said, needs to be improved. It doesn't need to be the archaic, backward destiny. The going modern doesn't mean you leave your foundation.
Yeah.
It means that you add up to that foundation.
Yeah.
You build on your foundation.
Technology is important. Put it there. Put it there.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity, sir, for partnering with us. I think he deserves a round of applause. All right. All right, thank you so much. We've been talking about sexual perversion, we've been talking about the causes, we've been talking about everything. So right now, I want to go deep, want to dive deeply into it. So there are some long-term psychological effects that this sexual perversion has on its victim. Permit me to share a story with you. Where I work initially, before now, there's this aged man. He's about 90-something year old. And I heard a very terrible story about him. Not until his death, before I heard the story. So the story is a very sad one, because what I heard was that he came back home drunk and then slept with his daughter. And I don't know how this thing work, but it was not the first time he was doing it. It was not the second time he was doing it. And the girl, she just immediately took in. You get? And then this man died and he passed away. But then this girl she's left with that child from her father. So now, what are the psychological effects that this thing has on the victim itself? Because now she's a victim. Yes, so what are those effects that it has on them?
Wow. They are numerous, and sometimes, even when you talk about them, you tend to be very, very emotional about them. And it's unfortunate, but they are just true. You discover that most people find it difficult to recover after that, or those engaged in things like that. One of it is depression. Some go into serious depression. Okay? They are psychologically imbalanced. They are always moody, always sad. And that tends to destroy them gradually. You also discover that their productivity begins to reduce. Their ability to be creative begins to reduce. Their humanity begins to die. And that is when you see that some people can't do anything without having conscience. They have no feelings for anybody. It's because their humanity have been tampered with. And so they have no feelings, they have no remorse, they just do things anyhow. We also have suicidal thoughts. They begin to think of, what am I living here for? Let me just kill myself. Let me just do this. And so that's where you see they've lost hope. They don't think they can do anything again. And you see, these are people that God brought into this world to become something. But all of that goes away. All of that goes away. Also, in marriages, it affects homes. You discover that a woman is married, but she cannot give her husband 100%. Or the husband is married and cannot give his wife 100%. Because of that damage that thing has caused. I've been able to counsel some people and discover that at the root of it, when the woman opens up, she begins to tell you, now discover that it's something that has happened to her or something that she's engaged in that has killed that part of her, that she feels that I cannot give you this part. This is who I am, and all of that. So it has also destroyed homes, it has destroyed marriages, and all of that. And this, in fact, one of the major effects is the damage it causes in families. That is where the damage is. And if God is going to do anything wonderful, it will come from a family. And so the devil has gone there to destroy it. And so in all of these things that I've just talked about now, the effect is high in the family, in the sanctity of the home, in the family structure. And that is why even the definition of home is redefined. They are defining what a home should look like. They're defining what a family should look like. They are redefining what marriage should look like. And all of this is just in order to fit in this kind of things, so that they can give these people a sense of belonging. But you see, in all of these things, the home is being affected. Imagine a child that is born to a homosexual. Will you be able to tell that child that marriage is between a man and a woman when he knows that his father is a man and his mother is a man? It will be difficult. So you see, it will be difficult for you to define something that he has seen bringing him. It will be difficult. It will be difficult. So like I said, the family structure is most hit when it comes to all of this. The family structure.
The first nation.
The first nation.
And when the first nation is destroyed, the nation...
Everything is gone. Everything. As small as it is super, everything is gone.
Wow. Wow. It's well. It's well. I have no words to put it. I don't know what to say anymore, except it's well. It's well. It's well. So, sir, this sexual perversion, is it a choice? Because the way you explained it now to me, I have some knowledge that maybe it's a choice, or maybe it's a mental disorder, or maybe it has to do with maybe psychology or something. So where can you actually place this sexual perversion?
Okay, yes, science will give explanation to a lot of things, and it's common. And but I would like to say this, and I want everyone in the world to hear that. It's a choice. It's a choice. You see, he said, I place before you this day life and death. So there's something that is placed before every man every day. Before you came here, you had a choice. You had alternatives. You had other things that you can decide to do that will distort your program. But you chose not to. It's a choice. And I've always said that the reason why God will punish people is not because of your psychological breakdown. It's the choice you make. It's the choice. It's our choice. So that is the foundation. And for anyone who ventured into something because of some psychological breakdown, made a choice that led to the psychological breakdown that took him to the point where he is. So everything boils down to choice. So permit me to stand by that word that is by our choice. It's our choice. It's the choice that we made. No matter how you want to look at it, it's the choice we make. So we have the right to make the right choices. And you see, as simple as it is, that is what God has placed before us. It's our choice. It's not one serious force from the devil or one mental thing. It's the choice that we made. So for anybody that went into drugs and maybe from the drugs and all of that went into sexual perversion and all that, it was the choice he made. Everything goes back to the choice we make. So that is what brings about every other chain reaction. Is the choice. So sexual perversion is a choice.
So, sir, you talked about people who have come to grow in a homosexual home. Will you still say for them it's a choice?
Now, for the child that was born into that home, let me just say this. There's no illegitimate child. I've had people say that several times, and I want to correct that. We only have illegitimate parents.
That's true.
For example, if I go to the market and buy a biro, it's my property. I got it legally. But if someone goes there to steal that biro is not wrong. That biro is not bad. It's what the act that person did that is bad. So that child that came as a result of that is not illegitimate. That's God's child. That child has a destiny with God. So it's not the fault of any child, but it's the choice of the parents. So God will hold them responsible for whatever it is that they do. But as he grows and he gets knowledge, God expects him to make his own choices. And God will hold him accountable to his own choices. So for the mistake of his parents, it has nothing to do with it. I didn't choose where to be born. You didn't choose where to be born. So, or how we are born. We didn't choose that. Whether I was born in the gutter and you were born in the palace, we didn't choose that. Are you hearing me now? But what happens after that, we have a part to play.
So when I'm of age, I can choose.
Your choice are very, very important to God at that time.
Wow.
All right, so we've been looking at so many causes, effects. We need to look at the solutions. Some people have been stuck in this for years, for many years. Some people have been forced into this. Some people are choosing this path. How do we pull them out?
Education. Information. When I talk about education, I'm not talking about formal education. People need to be enlightened. People need to be enlightened. And that is what you are doing now. People need to know. That is one. Mentorship. You need to be mentored. People need, in fact, we have a generation now that they feel that they don't need anyone. And that is dangerous. You can't go through life without a mentor. You can't go through life without someone talking to you. You know what I mean? Somebody should be talking to you. There's somebody that you should be listening to, correcting you. Somebody should be able to say, sit down, and you will sit. That is important. So we need mentorship. When I talked about enlightenment, that is very, very key. Sorry, but I have to say it. Someone approached my son and told him, hey, you're a fine boy. And I've observed that you have attention. I see you in church, girls are coming, I see you, and I see you have this attention. Please don't follow them, don't follow them. And my son was like, thank you very much. That was a good advice. But the next thing that came after that was the bomb. He said, if you feel like having fun, just go to the bathroom, rub soap, and so my son asked him, are you saying that I should masturbate? And he said, you see, my son said he asked him 3 times. The reason why he did that was to really make him know that this is what you are saying, and I know what you are saying. And when he was done saying that, my son left him and came straight home and told us, this is what this person said, this is what this person said, this is what this person said.
An adult.
And that was done in church by a church leader.
Wow.
Wow.
And that church leader is under me.
Hmm.
Now, if that boy was not enlightened, he would say, this man works under my dad. What is she telling me is something that is known by my dad or agreed by my dad. But you see, we've enlightened them. They know some things very well. And that is what, to bring some of these people, learn to talk out, learn to speak out. Look for someone and talk to that person. There is nothing impossible that God cannot bring you out of. Just learn to talk to people. It's important. When you keep things, you die in them. So learn to share your problems out. And to the right people, of course. Not just anybody, to the right people, of course. That's why I said, get a mentor. I have a talk on that. There are things you must do when you are looking for a mentor. Okay? Get someone, reach out to that person, and talk to that person. It's important. And for those listening to me now, if you are going through that now, you can be helped. You just need to talk to somebody. God has helped us to bring a lot of people out. A lot of them. And we are still doing that. But if you don't talk, nobody will know. If you don't talk, nobody will know. So try and reach out to people. Try and come out and let someone know what you are going through. Let someone know the challenges that you are passing through. And you will be helped. It's going to be a gradual process, but certainly you will be helped. You will be helped.
Okay. So the person needs to speak out.
Yeah, you need to speak out.
Also, people that are in countries where this is legalized, where there is so much, it's like the world around them. If you decide to stand out, they will crush you and suppress you. And people that are already in these legalized countries, how can they be brought out? Because they see what is happening and they see that this is the right way. Because the truth has been twisted by leaders, by the politicians there. How do you help people that maybe overseas, people in US, America, South Africa, and countries that where this is permitted, where this is seen as the right? How do you help them come out? Also, how will young people identify right mentors? Because if someone, you said if your son was not enlightened, the man is under a pastor and maybe a leader in a church, and since a leader is stealing, I can steal too.
Yeah.
Say perhaps my father could be stealing too.
Yeah.
So how do people identify good people, good mentors? Is there any way where I should go to and look for them? Can I find them on the internet? Can I find them? Where will I find these good
Okay,
leaders?
to answer, there are two questions. To answer the first one, how you can help these people out, especially those of them in these countries where it is legalized and all of that. First of all, like I said, churches and organizations, Christian organizations, have a program for young people. Have this kind of programs that will address issues like this. And it should not be aimed at defaming them. It should not be aimed at destroying them. It should not be aimed at bringing them down. I'll always say this: you cannot change someone you don't love. So love must be the undertone for anything that they're going to be doing. So churches and Christian organizations should come up with programs, correctional programs that will help restore this kind of people back, because what they need is restoration. So programs like this should be done. And also enlightening programs like this, TV programs. We should flood the televisions with programs like this, and so that others can hear, okay, I am suffering this. I can come out of this using ABC that I've had in ABC program and all of that. And these programs should be continuous. They should not just be a once and for all thing. They should be continuous, okay? Like I said, churches should have programs and all of that. And counselings also. You should have programs where you can address people, can counsel people. And I also say this. You see, when I'm talking to people and we address issue of purpose and all of that, how many times will you walk into an office and you discover that the person is a counselor? Just the way we have hospitals, we should have counseling sections, counseling institutions like that. We should have things like that, so that somebody can just walk into an office to meet a counselor and talk to that person. It's important. But you discover that most of us that runs our institutions like that, we just do that in the comfort of maybe our homes or maybe where we work. We have the opportunity to counsel one or two people. But I want to encourage other counselors that have this kind of passion, this kind of vision, to set up offices outside where you can also have people come and meet you and also talk with them. That answers the first one. And the second one that has to do with mentorship, how to identify mentorship, a mentor. First of all, you must know where you are going to and what you want. Because I won't be going to Zaria and I will look for a mentor that is going to Benue. I won't be going to the right place, okay? So you must find out, this is what I want, and who will help me achieve that. So you will look for a mentor that has the right standing. You must know about the person, of course, is important. The person must have a right standing in every wise, when it comes to family, when it comes to integrity and all of that. Because we have seen situations where, in fact, I've spoken to someone that told me that 4 pastors have counseled me, 4 pastors have slept with me.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying now? So these people were supposed to be mentors, but they ended up becoming disasters to that person. So when you are looking out for mentors, you must look out for things like that. People that have integrity and all of that. It's a long talk when it comes to mentorship. It's a wide thing. I have a real 3 hours talk when it comes to mentorship, when I had that talk with my students and all of that. But if you are looking for a mentor, the first thing you should look out for is someone that has the direction of where you are going to, someone that will help you come out of where you are going to, and that person must have integrity. It's very, very important.
All right. Thank you so very much, sir. We really appreciate your time, and it has been a wonderful time. I've learned a whole lot. Yeah, seeing this topic, I thought it was like a mountain. Not until you. Please, you deserve a round of applause, please. Also, sir, before we call it a wrap, we don't know if you have any last word for our online audience and our on-site audience.
I hope you emphasize more on the social media.
Yes. Okay. First of all, I want to say to our young people, sexual perversion is not new, but the reason why it's trending is because the social media is helping it to be powered, is giving it a larger audience and larger coverage. But I want to advise that for everything that you see that God has released to be of help to us, the devil can also use as an instrument of destruction. When you get to the social media, do things that will build you up, do things that will help you, do things that will increase you, not things that will destroy you. Sexual perversion is real, it's everywhere. But when you get to the social media, be careful the friends you make, be careful the connections you make. Make sure that you make the right decisions. And if you do that, I tell you the truth, the sky will be your starting point. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, so we've come to the end of this interactive section, and I hope that we all learned a lot. Personally, I wrote down some stuff, and I know that after now, I'll go and, read it, And thank you once more, sir, for being on this stage with us. We really appreciate your time, and may God bless you.
Amen.
May God give us more of you. I want to say more people like you, but more of you, sir.
Amen.
Thank you
Thank you.
so very much.
Thank you.
So